People no longer bound by their non-disclosure agreements. What can you now disclose? I disclosed to a minority partner that the majority partner owed him 100k. He could have easily received a check for that amount, but he sued for 700k, spent 300k on a lawyer and got nothing. My best friend worked at a roadside attraction near Chattanooga, Tennessee, called Ruby Falls. There's something else called Ruby Falls elsewhere in the country. It's supposedly a waterfall inside a cave. Of course, the trail to the cave is redone with all sorts of rock brought in from around the world. I think they've owned up to that part now. But the waterfall itself is barely a trickle naturally, and then only in the wetter season. They've run a pipe up there to supplement the falls, hidden by cracks and crevices and cemented over, and powered by a pump off to the side, which you can't hear when the water is splashing down from 100 feet overhead. It's 99% from the city of Chattanooga, or maybe Lookout Mountain, municipal water supply. Of course, with such a wet area, old electrical wires going back to the Great Depression, and 300 feet underground, it sputters, or shorts out, and stops every now and then. The first rule in the falls room is make everybody leave immediately if the power goes out, not for safety, but because the fable agreed upon will be shown as fake. The book you're reading might only be a bestseller because the author had enough money to buy thousands and thousands of copies, have them shipped to a warehouse for storage, and eventually destroyed. The secret ingredient in Jimmy John's tuna salad is Kikkoman's soy sauce. I worked at a small bakery in New York City when I was younger. Every morning the bakery would take their day-old cupcakes and deliver them to a tour company that did Sex and the City tours. The tour company would pass our cupcakes off as cupcakes from Magnolia, and significantly much more popular bakery. When I was fired from Auntie Anne's in 2010, I signed a 10-year non-compete/NDA contract, promising not to detail the baking secrets or work for another pretzel establishment. Well, that ended this year, so now I can run out and start a pretzel store, because the secret I was keeping was making pretzels literally requires two products, one of them being water and the other a large bag of pretzel meal/dust/powder. Quite literally anyone with $2,500 can start a pretzel stand and make perfectly fine pretzels. It's not difficult whatsoever. Edit. I signed the letter when I was hired, but I got a copy with my termination letter. You know NDAs are only good if you have the money to sue. Worked with a company that didn't pay me, so I told them their NDA didn't apply. They threatened to sue. My response: you can't even afford to pay me, you sure as hell can't afford to sue. I used to work for a large gas station chain. I worked at its warehouse, where it creates a lot of the donuts. The room was really hot, so we were always sweating. There's some machines where the donuts get glazed in chocolate. They're these small machines, they look almost like a BBQ grill. They always wanted us to be super fast glazing the donuts. Working in a hot room and working at super fast speeds, it was natural for a lot of people's sweat to just drip in the chocolate underneath us. Never eat the chocolate donuts from a gas station. I was wrongfully terminated by a past employer. They lowballed the settlement offer and withheld payment on my accrued vacation. This part was actually illegal. It took about a year to get to the point where their attorneys realized that we were not lying about them holding back the accrued vacation, and this caused them to make a more than generous offer to make my claim against them go away. People wouldn't believe how old-fashioned its systems are behind big online shops, etc. Like anyone with decent IT skills would be able to crack them. Some of them are 30 years old command liners that are only in place because everything got built around them and have never been replaced. I was a contractor for NASA. I still fully support the agency, but I was extremely bugged when I learned that each separate NASA center, for instance, JPL, Kennedy, American Englishes, Goddard, hides many of its inventions and breakthroughs from the other centers, so that when HQ is ready to assign a big mission and a lot of dollars to one center, they have a better chance to compete over the others. Look what we invented. American Englishes can't do this over there. Give us the next moon orbiter. The downside is that there is a ton of reinvention and duplicated efforts going on. Sometimes years of work go down the drain when another center does the same thing faster. My perspective was, you all work for NASA. Share knowledge, collaborate. I was frequently ordered to tone down anything revealing when speaking to other centers. I had to sign an NDA to be cast in a pretty big movie this year with a bunch of Marvel people. I know literally nothing of any value to everyone. All I did was dress up and stand out in the snow staying perfectly still and freezing my ass off next to Tom Holland for a week. My last company, a medium-sized airline, paid their CEO a $10 million bonus after he bankrupted the company. I once had to sign an NDA to get a price on a printer for my sign shop. This was a printer that was only sold by one distributor, by the way, so there wasn't even any direct competition on this particular model. I think their gimmick was that if they make a really big deal out of giving you this super secret pricing, that you'd be lulled into thinking it was really something special. Edit. Interesting comment by u/Baird Stashman below, who probably has the right idea as to what was going on with this practice. I'm still bound, but insider trading is real and executive often step down or retire early for getting caught. Never had an NDA on this, but if I give too much info, I'll get tagged and likely get in serious trouble. BCBS had a *SEVERE* security breach back in 2007. If you were with them in a certain area of the country and ever called them the number for help on your account, all of your personal info was caught by a third party. Every caller, every piece of data. *THEY never disclose this BREACH*. Edit. Clarification. I dug up some ancient bones, gold, and Mycenaean tombs. I couldn't discuss the finds until the institution who ran the archaeological dig could publish the data. You can read about it here. Edit. I'm a classics student, not the one running the whole dig, but my role in it was very much legal and official lol. We knew to dig there because there was another tomb next to it, and it's located near a big Mycenaean Bronze Age palace. I only dug there for one summer, but it was a blast. If you're interested in archaeology, you should see if there are any local groups that you can volunteer with. I was asked to sign an NDA to be able to see the magical device they had that was going to change the game for its services. It was a Rapu board/case that had the company's logo stamped on it, and it ran Sense, Aka, do-it-yourself router. This magical technology was and is still available for about $150 a unit. I got quite a strange look when I had to explain that their NDA would mean jack shit as the item was widely available and known. Side note, they are pretty awesome. For anyone wanting to use sense-based gateways/routers, it's a lot nicer than an old PC taking up a bunch of space. The $100 million electronic component broker that I worked for shafted me out of $900K in commissions when I was in my early 20s. They assumed I would not have enough money to fight them in court and they took their shot. I got a lawyer on contingency, sued them, and took home a $500K settlement in 2000. The 20 years NDA recently expired, and they can continue to kiss my ass until their graves. I worked at a gym, and in the showers there was yellow shampoo and blue body wash and pump dispensers. I found out that the only difference between the two soaps was the color. Edit. Memory joggers. It was 25 plus years ago. Hand soap was blue, body wash was green, shampoo was yellow. All the same. Edit 2. As funny as the replies are, it wasn't an NDA about soap. It was just a generic employment NDA to protect the privacy of members and business affairs of the gym. Portal 3 was in development at some point. Got a tour of Valve in 2013 and got to see a very early stage of the game. Pretty sure it's not coming out anymore. I used to work in fine dining in Oklahoma City. Cocaine. Cocaine everywhere. I've personally walked in on several NBA players over the years, face down in that white girl. Come to mention it, I've seen several of them fucking other guests on the same bathroom counter that their teammates just did a line off of. Personally got to watch Harold Ham sign his divorce check. $975 million is a whole lot of zeros in a small space. Wild times indeed. Edit, for those that may want more stories. I did get to see LeBron covered in toilet paper. Hilarity ensued. Needless to say, she was escorted out. My mom had to sign her NDA about Ricky Martin being gay. I had to sign an NDA to work at this tech company, and I'm still waiting to accidentally overhear something cool, so I can feel special for knowing something important, but being legally barred from disclosing it. Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA will have microtransactions. The NDA was signed in 2016. I was getting more and more worried as the release date kept getting closer, and then it happened. The backlash was so strong that EA went down in the history books as most downvoted comment in Reddit's history. I think I'm finally ready to let the world know my secret. If you've ever used VeriSite, the loading spinners you see when the report loads aren't waiting for anything. People kept complaining that reports were coming back too fast, so it must not be working right. It doesn't take long to complete a few hundred Google searches simultaneously, so the loading spinner just makes you wait a few seconds longer, so it feels like more is happening. So glad to finally get that off my chest. Bonus fact, edit, I also added applying phlebotinum, reticulating splines, and looking for cat memes as random loading messages, but they wouldn't let me do harassing at TEDCRUZ on Twitter,